I really like Koharu, but even more importantly, I think I'm in love with Go. Is that weird?
Pokemon Ranger, I choose you!
What's up, mighty boys and girls, it's your Ranger Boy here, and welcome to my second review of Pokemon the Anime 2019. So, the first episode did a great job with giving us a first good impression about in which specific direction the anime will go. And in my opinion, episode 2 called Ash and Go, Let's Go by Lugia just improved that first impression even more. Really long, but how? If you want to know more, if you want to know my opinion, then grab some popcorn, grab some cookies, and let's do this! After watching the first episode, some of you guys were really skeptical of whether or not this series is about our Ash or a rebooted version of him. Well, with just this one image right here, the anime answered the doubts of many. Anyway, just like always, Ash is sleeping, and even with Pikachu's trademark Thunderbolt, Ash is still asleep, because, you know, Ash. But the thing that really sends shockwaves through his entire body is his mom waking him up and reminding him that he wanted to meet with Professor Oak, and therefore our boy is on his way to the Pokemon lab. Arriving at the location, Professor Oak wants to bring Ash to a welcome ceremony in Vermilion City because a new professor just founded his own institution there. So it's a trip with Professor Oak, Ash, and his mom. And Ash is all like, "Mom, why are you here?" No jokes, guys, but that just recently happened to me. Me and my friend, we were at a festival and everything was great and all, until his mom came and he was like, "Mom, why are you here?" And she was all like, "Don't you want me to be here? Are you that ashamed of your own mother?" And he was like, "But Long and I wanted to drink some alcohol. You can't tag along." And she was all like, "Oh honey, that's no problem. I drink with you guys." Needless to say, the festival was ruined. Pokemon anime, please cheer me up. And in fact, it did. Because soon after they arrived at the building, Ash encounters adorable Yamper, who despite seemingly liking Pikachu, it didn't really seem to like Ash at all. And soon, Ash felt what many Pokegirls and their bikes have felt. Well, every Pokegirl besides Serena. Kinda strange. Every other Pokegirl throughout the series got shocked by Pikachu or their bikes destroyed at one point, except for our girl. But a new challenger has arrived to take that title away from her, and that's Koharu. Because as soon as she saw the slightly roasted Ash on the ground, she did this. Koharu, I just love you. I just love you. But just like Koharu, we have to move on. After a pretty generic introduction of Professor Sakuragi, aka Koharu's dad, and his goal of trying to understand Pokemon better, meh. Pokegirl Koharu was waiting for her childhood friend Go, but her friend doesn't have time for schoolwork because he was eagerly waiting all day for a certain encounter with a certain Pokemon, which is Psyduck! Of course! Just kidding, of course it's Lugia. Didn't you see the title? But I guess Go wasn't the only one waiting for the legendary Pokemon, since many trainers were waiting for Lugia as well, to have a Pokemon Go style raid battle with it. And just like Pokemon Go, if your Pokemon are too weak, you can't even touch Lugia, which is what basically happened. Lugia had more of a dance with these guys rather than a serious battle. And surprisingly enough, even Ash's Pikachu didn't really harm Lugia significantly. How many CP does Lugia have, for God's sake? And after answering with a devastating looking Hydro Pump, Lugia wants to run away. But both Ash and Go are chasing down the legendary, and at one point, they both jump on it. And despite nearly falling down, they end up safe on Lugia's back. And from this point on, you could see how different, yet at the same time how similar both Ash and Go are. Go is fascinated by Lugia from a more analytical point of view, while Ash's fascination is based more on his overall love for Pokemon, and that theme has been seen throughout the rest of the episode. But even with these different kinds of devotion for Pokemon, both trainers have something in common: their passion and overall dedication for Pokemon. And even though throughout their flight with Lugia they barely exchange words with each other, Go suddenly offers Ash his friendship, even going so far to say, "You can accept my friendship." Wow, that was interesting. With that declaration of friendship, Lugia quickly brushes both of them off his back, and after that fateful encounter, Go is even more optimistic about his goal of meeting and probably catching all Pokemon. And he just burns with eager and desire to travel around the world, and Ash basically just agrees with him. They have a moment with each other, just laughing, which caused me to say, I ship this. But sadly, that slightly romantic moment got ruined by the realization that both of them landed in the middle of nowhere. Even though they finally arrived back at the institution with no energy left in their body, Koharu really gives Go a hard time with some schoolwork, while also trying to avoid eye contact with Ash. Again, I love you, Koharu. The scene continues with both Go and Ash once again showing off their different kind of passion for Pokemon to Professor Sakuragi. Go showing off his research results, while Ash tries to describe his encounter on a more emotion-based point of view. And even though Go was a bit confused at first, both Go and Sakuragi somehow got fascinated by Ash's explanation. Impressed by both results, Sakuragi decides to make both trainers his research assistants, aka the guys who gather Pokemon data from as many Pokemon in as many regions as possible. With two trainers now being assigned with such an important mission, our two heroes kinda start their rivalry. They even move to a dorm room together while fighting about who gets which bed. And of course, as a proper rival, Go even gets offered one of the 3 Kanto starters, but Go wants to have Mew as his first starter. I mean, very interesting, and I think a certain bunny will interfere in that plan. But anyway, that's how the episode ends. So that's it, and without any more hesitation, my impressions. So the first episode was all about introducing the new characters while also making a first good impression by establishing them very early on. The second episode, in my opinion, was all about further establishment, but this time by characterizing each and every character and also through character interactions. The first interaction I want to point out is between Ash and Koharu. It was a rather interesting approach that Koharu's first encounter with Ash was a rather unpleasant one, and not really like the first 4 girls, where it was actually Ash's fault, but more so that it was her fault that their first meeting ended up on a negative note. And that's also why she felt bad and tried to avoid eye contact with Ash. I'm really looking forward for more interactions between the two of them and just more Koharu in general. I just want to know more about that girl. Next, we have some more interactions between Go and Koharu. Thanks to episode 1, we knew that they are childhood friends, and episode 2 just further underlined that aspect, with Koharu reacting to every action of Go, like she's already used to his habits and shenanigans, like she's some sort of scolding mother or the girlfriend who keeps his boy in check so that he won't do anything dumb again, because she cares about him. But obviously the most outstanding character dialogue was between Ash and Go, and the way they used Lugia to showcase that was, in all honesty, pretty genius, with Go being more fascinated by Lugia from a research point of view, while Ash is more fascinated based on his emotions, but that Lugia somehow made them friends, with both experiencing the world of Pokemon together, even with their different opinion, and that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you like about Pokemon the most. As long as you really love Pokemon, you can connect with everyone. That message in itself was fantastic, and this overall message hanging above both characters also got further underlined thanks to both the beautiful animation, which expressed that message as good as possible, and the music. The music especially was the winner here, since the music is composed by the same guy who makes the My Hero Academia music. I mean, just listen to this track right here and don't tell me you didn't think about My Hero Academia. Before I dive into the things I didn't like, let's talk about Go in general. I love him. And I don't mean like in a romantic kind of way, but more as a character. I love how multi-layered this guy already is. And for me, he combines so many things of past characters. His love for adventure like Ash, his love for journey like May, the fact that he more than often is a show-off like Brock when he's in front of girls, his endless hunger for research and wanting to learn new things like Clement or Lily, his interactions with Koharu, of him being the overall careless and bold guy, while Koharu is the more caring and sweet person and sometimes scolding part like Ash and Serena. He already is my favorite character, and I just can't wait for next week's episode because I want to see more of him, more of his relationships, and just more of this new world and this new anime. Gosh, I love this anime. So, with all the praise out of the way, what are the bad things of this episode? I wouldn't necessarily say bad things, but more so things that aren't as good as the points I mentioned before. First, let's talk about the new professor, Professor Sakuragi. He is, honestly kinda average. I would even say the word boring. I know it sounds very harsh, but after we had 2 rather interesting professors with both Sycamore and Kukui, he doesn't really stand out in both looks and his overall goal in life. Sycamore was the more flamboyant professor who researched Pokemon evolutions, with his main focus being Mega Evolution. Kukui, on the other hand, was the more chill, relaxed kind of professor who studied Pokemon moves, with his focus being Z-moves. And then we have Sakuragi, who sadly falls under the old formula of Pokemon professors, with his goal to better understand Pokemon, which at the end of the day is every professor's goal. So his first impression to me was not really that good, but I really hope that he will find something that makes him somewhat special. The next thing, which in my opinion wasn't really bad, but more so confusing, was the concept of raid battles in the anime. Don't get me wrong, the action was awesome, but what is the purpose of a raid battle in the anime? In the games, the main goal in these kind of battles is to catch Pokemon and to earn additional rewards. But in the anime, the raid battles seem to be there, well, just for the sake of showing off some action. Sure, the incoming raid battle in the anime had a purpose for Go and his research, but for anyone else, and even for Ash, the raid battle just seemed there just for the sake of action and for Lugia as a plot device. I hope you guys can understand my point, and I really hope that we will see more raid battles in the future. But next time I want to know what kind of role and purpose raid battles actually have in the anime besides, you know, cool battles. But besides my small issues, this episode was once again another fantastic one. Full with emotions, full with characters bursting with personality, and even more potential for the future. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed my review, and just like always, I see you guys in the comments down below. Bye guys!